Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Welcome to the Black Tax. There's an African proverb that says, "A scared dog barks to pretend to its master, but a brave dog bites to protect him." I have had some luck landing some amazing interviews. And in this particular one, it was with a studio in Hollywood. It was a new role that was being carved out that required the individual to have a focus on intellectual property, who was a lawyer, who had a business background, who could manage this department. I fit all of the criteria, all of it. And through a headhunter in Los Angeles, I got my initial interview, which turned into a second interview and a third interview. The fourth interview wasn't so much of an interview, but it was meeting the team that was focused on this particular intellectual property management, all of the contracts that the studio was entering, were in production, were in post-production, to ensure that all of the steps were being met. And they needed someone who was going to run that department, who was both legal and both business, and could understand how the numbers were looking, who could manage all of those pieces of the puzzle when it came to film and television production. The person who brought me on was a friend who I smoked cigars with. So he was like, "You're ideal for this job. You meet everything and you fit what they need." And I said to him, "What do you mean I fit what they need?" He says, "Come on, man. You know they need a black person and you ideal." And I was like, "You're funny." He's like, "No, I'm serious." And yes, he's white, but he's one of those individuals who are just cool as fuck, married to a black woman, who treats him the way he needs to be treated when he steps out of line, which is what I loved most about her. So I go onto the lot. He meets me. We go up to his office. He gives me the spiel about what I need to do, how it's going to go. There are a few people there who are a little unhappy because they thought they could get the job, but they don't have the credentials, the degrees, or the experience. I have everything. I go in, I'm suited, I'm booted, comfortable as in my skin as I always am. And he introduces me to the team, and we start talking about their process and what they did. And they're asking me questions about my process. And I was like, well, if I'm hired, one of the things I'd like to do is just kind of shadow people for, a week, 2 weeks, get a sense of how this team functions as a unit and how I can then join that unit and kind of bridge whatever the small gaps are, if there are any, so that we can make this a profitable segment for this particular studio. And some of them were a little standoffish. Cool, no problem. The interview, or the time for Meet the Staff, was about an hour and a half. And then after that, I went on my merry way. I knew that they were going to be meeting with the other two candidates because they had whittled down from 10 to 3, and I was top candidate for the job. Somehow, somewhere between the time I left and 3 days later, my friend was like, "Hey, where are you?" I said, "I'm getting ready to go grab lunch." He says, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm in the Valley." He's like, "Come over to Beverly Hills and we'll have lunch there." And I was like, "What's up?" He says, "I just need to talk to you about the job." And I was like, "Okay." Now, I knew that I didn't get the job just by his tone, but I didn't know why I didn't get the job. And I'm sure he was about to tell me. So we go to this restaurant in Beverly Hills, and a lot of the muckety mucks go to lunch there, yada, 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 yada. And we're sitting there, we're talking, and I was like, okay, let me ask a question before we start talking about this particular job. Who's paying for this lunch? It's a corporate lunch. I was like, great. Okay. So the waiter comes over and I said, hey, I'm going to order these 7 entrees with these 7 sides, and I want them to be wrapped up to go. I want the filet mignon. I want the spinach. I want the French fries. I want a triple gin and tonic. And I think that's all that I want. And then I'll figure out what I want for dessert. I think I'm going to go with 3 pieces of chocolate cake, 2 slices of cheesecake. I think I want to do a tiramisu and then something else. And my friend looked at me as like, you're not getting this job, don't you? Oh, I knew in the tone of your voice that I wasn't going to get this job. But I'm curious why I'm not going to get the job. And he said, they went with another candidate that seemed to work better with the team. And I was like, okay, is he white? And he was like, yeah, he is white. And he's like, you didn't get this job because you're black, right? Oh, I know. I knew from the tone of some of the individuals, the more senior staff in the room, that it was going to be a problem. They would have to report to somebody black. And he's like, and there's nothing you can do about this. You can't file a suit against them. You can't do any of those things. And I was like, I'm not going to jam you up. I'm not going to do that, because why would I fuck you over? Because they didn't want to hire me. You got me in. You got me through all the interviews. I'm not going to screw you, but it's fucked up. He's like, it is fucked up, but I can keep my eyes open for you. And if something else comes in, let you know. And I was like, well, the problem with that is that I don't know if I really want to work for that particular company now. Number 2, because I'm so senior, I don't think anyone is going to hire me at a lower level, because they are always afraid that if they bring me on at a lower level and a lower salary, or wants to hire me with a higher salary, I'll quit without giving any notice. And so it becomes a catch-22. And he's like, you're right. It does become a catch-22. But you're at a point in your career and in your life where you got to decide what you want to do, because you're now a threat on all levels. So we ate, we laughed, we giggled. He's like, my wife wants you to come to dinner this weekend. I was like, yeah, no problem. Tell her I'll swing by. She says, don't tell me you're going to swing by and you're not. No, I'm going to come by. We'll hang out, we'll laugh, we'll giggle. We'll play some cards, and chill. Between the time of him telling me I didn't get the job and me hanging out with them, I had to do some real soul searching. And this is not the first time this has happened. There have been other incidences with other jobs. One with a sports franchise, one with a modeling franchise. The modeling franchise was, they wanted somebody that was not within the industry, but understood the industry because they came from a similar industry. And I fit the bill for that. But for some odd reason, there was somebody who had, some young man named Malik Shakur, who had nudes on the internet. And when they did their Google search of my name, and those pictures came up, and somehow they equated those pictures and me as being the same person. We're not the same complexion. We're not the same body style. We're not even the same length of dick. I'm bigger and pierced. So I've been dealing with this, and I've been in this space of, what am I supposed to do? Oftentimes, many of us, especially us Gen Xers, have bought into the belief that with an education, we will always be employed. That's a bold-faced lie. I have had to work for me. I have had to find opportunities for myself. Even when I find those opportunities for myself, there's always someone within that opportunity that is threatened, fearful, that somebody thinks I'm going to take their job. I'm just trying to get a check, pay my bills, create, be happy, do what I love, come home, and live my Black life. But the insecurity of people, especially white people, when someone is Black, who can outthink them, outmaneuver them, hell, much more talented than they will ever be, it becomes problematic. So, I want you to hold on to knowing you're good enough. Know that you're talented. Know that you're gifted. Know that you can always improve on your skill sets. Know you can gain other skill sets. But also know with that does not come opportunity to work for somebody, because that becomes problematic in the long run, because they see you as flighty, you're all over the place, you don't know what you want to do. Not that you are multi-talented and can do many things that helps the company save money in the overall balance of building a brand and an identity. Never sell yourself short. Never allow yourself to rethink what you know about yourself based on what someone said, or what an interviewer said, or what a teacher said, or a professor said. Your innate ability of who you are, you know better than anybody. You live with it. It grows within you. It is your essence. And that being true to self is what keeps you focused on what your goals are and those you wish to achieve. Know this about life and work. It is often said that Americans live to work, where the rest of the world work to live. Understand,